I'm a 27-year-old woman, and I've been dreaming about my wedding for as long as I can remember. You know how some people have Pinterest boards for weddings before they're even engaged? That was me, except I had mental Pinterest boards in my head since I was 10. It wasn't about the grandeur or extravagance. It was just the idea of celebrating love surrounded by the people who mattered most. A couple of months ago, my longtime partner, who's 30, proposed, and I couldn't have been happier. But what started as the happiest time of my life has quickly turned into a nightmare thanks to one person, my aunt. Let me set the stage a little bit. My fiancé and I aren't flashy people. We're both working professionals and pretty practical when it comes to money. We set a budget of $20,000 for the wedding. It's not huge, but it's enough to plan something intimate, elegant, and entirely ours. We found the perfect venue, a gorgeous garden space that feels straight out of a storybook but without the storybook price tag. Everything was falling into place. Now here's where things get messy. My aunt, who's 50, is that person in the family. You know, the type loud, opinionated, and wealthy enough to think her money gives her control over everyone else's lives. She throws these ridiculous parties that feel more like PR events than family gatherings, always making it about herself. She's also incredibly controlling, which is why I've always kept my distance. Unfortunately, keeping her out of this was not as easy as I thought. When she heard I got engaged, she called me immediately to congratulate me and offered to pitch in $5,000 for the wedding. That sounds generous, right? But there was a catch. She wanted input on the guest list. Specifically, she wanted to invite a bunch of her friends and business acquaintances. I declined politely, explaining that we already had a tight budget and wanted to keep it small. She acted like she understood, but that's when the subtle undermining started. At first, it was little things. She'd mention ideas for decor or suggest vendors, claiming she just wanted to help. I thought she was just being overly enthusiastic, but then bigger problems started popping up. The first major issue was the venue. A week after we booked it, I got a call saying it had been double booked for the same day, and we'd need to find another date. I was devastated. We had already started coordinating with vendors, and changing the date would mess everything up. Here's where it gets weird. A few days later, my aunt casually mentioned she had booked the same venue for a big event around the same time. She said it with this smug little smile, like she wanted me to connect the dots. I didn't want to jump to conclusions, but it felt suspicious. Things spiraled from there. My aunt started telling relatives about our wedding plans, like she was co-hosting the event. People kept coming to me with questions about things she had decided, like themes and menu choices, and I had no idea what they were talking about. It turns out she had been framing her suggestions as finalized plans to other family members. My fiancé, bless him, has been incredibly patient through all this, but even he was losing his cool. He told me I needed to confront her before things got worse, but I was still trying to keep the peace. That changed when I found out she had invited her own friends to the wedding. These weren't mutual family friends or people I knew, just random acquaintances of hers. She claimed they might as well come since I've talked so much about your wedding to them. The audacity. The final straw came when I discovered she contacted my caterer without telling me. She had the menu changed to some over the top, expensive options I had specifically said I didn't want. I was furious. When I confronted her about it, she just brushed it off, saying, "You'll thank me later." That's when I realized she wasn't just being overbearing, she was actively trying to take over my wedding. I've spent the past few days unraveling all the damage she's done. My fiancé and I have had to scramble to find a backup venue, reconfirm all our vendor contracts, and deal with the fallout of her meddling. It's exhausting. And honestly, I'm at my wit's end. This was supposed to be